Hello, everyone. Welcome to Concordia University's fourth space, and thank you for joining us for today's event. It takes a village. Build your graduate studies community. And to help situate you, we are streaming to YouTube live from fourth space, and we are located on unceded Indigenous lands in Chichage, Montreal. Here at Fourth Space, we work with our university community to mobilize knowledge by co-creating daily activities that examine research questions and projects that are in development across the university. We're running today's event as a live stream Zoom meeting, so we welcome any comments or questions there via the chat. For those of you in the space, if you'd like to participate, just raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. And now, with that, it's my pleasure to hand it over to master's candidate in creative writing here at Concordia, Paz O'Farrell. Paz, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming here or joining us virtually. It's true, my name is Paz, and I'm studying creative writing here. I'm in my second year, going to be ending soon, interestingly enough. And these here are my colleagues. We are all graduate ambassadors, so we are here to tell you about what it's like to do a program in Concordia and specifically build a community. And that can be more than just making friends, what things are available through the university, what is outside it, how do you make that effort that I think we all know we have to make. So maybe you can all introduce yourself quite briefly.
All right. So hi, everyone. So my name is Noga. I'm in my first year of my master's studies in applied linguistics. Yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is James. I'm a second year PhD student in supply chain management here at Concordia. And I've been here since my bachelor's. So I did my bachelor's, master's, and now PhD here.
Hello, I'm Mira. I'm doing my MFA in cinematic arts, film production. And this is my third year. I'm doing my thesis now, and I'm planning to do a film, hopefully, for my thesis as well. So it's going to be my final year.
As you can see, we have a variety of programs, some more business, some more artistic things. And we also have a lot of different experiences. Somebody who's been here all along. We have some international people like myself. So there's a lot of angles that you can ask us questions on. First, we have our own sort of conversation, things that we want to touch on, but then we'll have 15 minutes or so at the end for questions specifically from you. So that being said, let us begin. Think back to when you were applying to Concordia. You decided you want to do grad school. What was it about Concordia? What did you know about student life or the community here that appealed to you, that made you choose this place?
So I could jump on that one real quick. The first thing that I noticed, and I've been here my whole life. I'm Montreal born and raised, and the first thing that I really noticed about Concordia was that it felt like a school of tomorrow. It kind of felt like a very forward-thinking school. It wasn't necessarily built on tradition, and I thought that that was a very appealing aspect because in a way, you're kind of part of something new. You're not necessarily just, part of this traditional kind of system. It really feels like everything that you do here kind of makes a difference. And I think that that's a very unique aspect. I don't know, did you guys want to touch on something?
So as opposed to James, I am an international student like Paz, and it's my first year here. So I think what attracted me most about the university, it's its location. I'm studying linguistics, so it's really about language. So like this city is just, it's like the best spot to do research on language. So I think, yeah, I came here because of the city, but I fell in love with the university as well. So it's the other way around, but it's the same kind of experience.
Yeah, location played a big role, honestly. Like everyone was telling me that Montreal is great for students, especially international students that are coming and don't know a lot of people. You're going to get to meet a lot of people, and that actually happened. So, and regarding the school, I wanted something specific. I wanted to experience more creative approaches, and Concordia was that school for me. It wasn't like just practical work. It was all about like experiencing yourself as an artist, the identity as an artist after you graduate. So that's what like made me see, okay, Concordia and Montreal works perfect for me.
Mira, I have a question. Do you feel like your fellow students also have this identity as an artist? And
Actually, it was developed here. all of us. Like we all came when we were doing like our grad studies, international and Canadians. When we got here, we were all like a bit, okay, I'm a film narrative director, fiction. That's what I want to do. And at the end, like now I'm doing a documentary. So it's like I'm discovering new ways of doing my films, you know, like new approaches. And that's something that helped us all when we were doing our grad studies.
Mhm. And with film production, I'm assuming it's very collaborative, you know, you
Yeah.
need a whole film
Oh,
crew.
of course. And of course, and we work together all the time. Like anytime, like now, for example, for my thesis, they're gonna be working with me. And I have a documentary that's gonna be shot in Lebanon. And one of my classmates, she's coming and she's gonna be the cinematographer she's Canadian, from Montreal. So it's always like collaboration between each other. We're still talking. We're still trying to figure out like how we can work more together.
Mhm.
You build like a nice family, you know, when it comes to film. We're not a big class, so less is better always.
Okay. And that leads me to you, James, because you were talking about this School of Tomorrow thing. And I'm interested to see if you found that this idea that you had of Concordia changed throughout your undergrad to your master's to your PhD. How has that developed? You know, your first impressions versus what you actually lived.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Because starting off, when I first started off at Concordia, I was obviously, you know, in my undergrad, I was taking a lot of courses, and now I'm a lot more involved in research. And so I'm kind of starting to see that it really is that case that everything that you do, all the research that you do, it kind of gets this outreach, and it kind of it's relevant to the school, and they really do care about these things. And that's only something that I've really started to notice in my PhD, but it's been here all along. So I think what I've realized, and over the years, what I've started to see is that the more you get involved in the community, the more you get involved in, you know, outside activities or even within the academic sphere, as you start to get more involved in these things, you're going to start to see how it really does translate. And yeah, it's far exceeded my expectations in that sense. So I think it's really just that I've started to notice these things a lot more.
What about you, Noga? International student, you get here, you're going to study language. And did you find that the language, well, I mean, we all talk about the language question here in Montreal a lot, but you're somebody who studies language. First impressions versus now, how has everything been?
Oh, it's been amazing. Like, I'm not sure. So the people at home, I'm assuming there are a lot of international students joining us as well. So at first, when you come here as an international student, it could be not intimidating, but scary in the sense like you have to build everything from scratch. And also language wise, if you don't speak French, sometimes, you know, that could be a challenge as well. But I find because there's so many people from so many different places, then you're really welcome as soon as you come in. So in that sense, I really feel like at first I was concerned because I didn't know how will it go with the people. But then once you get here, and if you come with the right attitude, and right attitude, I don't mean like being happy and smiley all the time, but be willing to talk to people, that really makes the change. So that's something that yeah, as James mentioned, and again, I'm not from here, but that's definitely exceeded my expectations in terms of, you know, building a community, getting involved and so on.
Mira, do you have anything to say? First impressions?
Well, I mean, of course, as like any international student, when I got here, I was a bit afraid because I built my connections all my life in Lebanon. So I know like where to go, what to do. And coming here, I was like, okay, how am I gonna just graduate and leave and not being able to work with anyone? But the school and the people in Montreal made it easy. The community, the cinema community, the film people, like it's everywhere. It's like a crazy artistic city. So like we all work together, we all do like screenings together. And I think that helped us like a lot, as especially me, to build like a nice community, nice people like to be around and to work with. So my impressions, like I was scared and now I'm fine.
Yeah, I would say the same thing myself, you know? Well, now we're going to transition to a question that has to do with a day in our lives. We're in such different programs that can look quite different. I'm like you, Mita. I'm like a little artist. So I wake up late and I'm usually reading like around a book a week for my classes or something like this. My classes are usually in the afternoon. from 6 to 8 or something like that. I think a lot of master's classes, at least in my department, tend to be more at night because some people have full-on jobs or part-time jobs. Mine are a bit more part-time. I have some research assistant contracts, so it means I can work at 4 a.m. if I want to. There's a lot of flexibility there that I quite appreciate. I'm not someone who really likes being at the office at 9 or something like that. So it's been breathing life into things. And yes, I often find myself in a very strange basement somewhere watching a poetry event, and it's always the same faces. What else can I say? I've been trying to go to the gym, and it's important also to add structure to the flexibility that grad school can give you, and see people, take care of my cat, all of that. What does it look like for you? Random Monday.
So yeah, I'll start off on this one. For me, I'm much like you, Paz. I don't like structure. I don't like too much structure. I like to have the flexibility to do what I want to do in the week. And the nice thing about the PhD program is that you have just that. In fact, you don't really have much other than that. You really do have to kind of structure your days around your work, and also bear in mind keeping time for yourself and just for the activities and hobbies that you like to do. So for me, regular weekday, I'll wake up, go to the gym. Pretty much from, I'd say, 9 to about 5 or 6 p.m. I'll do some research work and start working on new projects or tying up coursework assignments. And then in the evenings, I like to just relax and either go out, see some friends, or have a night in. But it's nice to have that freedom.
It's very singular, right? It's up to you to get out and see those people.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like grad school, it's all about you, right? You structure. You said no structure, but you actually do have structure. The thing is that it's not, nobody dictates what you need to do. It's about you creating that schedule for yourself. So for me personally, I start the day very early. I work from like 6 or so till 11 or 12, and then I go to university. I normally have lab meetings for like an hour and a half. And then I do my actual work. So either experiments or just reading for my courses or writing my thesis. And that's approximately until 5. And then 5, I go to take my lessons, 5 to 8. Then 8, I go back home, try to go to the gym. I don't always do that, but I try my best. And then reply to some of my students because I work as a TA. And yeah, do some more reading. And that's my day.
God, she's busy.
I mean, you guys said almost everything, but I'm gonna add about this. Like, yeah, there's like you don't have anyone to tell you, like you have time to build like a life for you, which is cool. And our classes were mainly studio classes, so we had like 2 classes per week, which were like 5 hours, and then you do everything on your own after that. You decide if you want to join other cinemas or other communities or go around and meet people at the VCR, for example, and have go see the screenings that are being done at school. So that's like the school gives you time for you also to have your own, to build your own life in Montreal and at Concordia. So that's something that has been very helpful for me.
Well, I think, Mira, you and I have a similar, I don't know if it's a problem, but it's something that we have to deal with, which is that a lot of the artists that you see at these sort of cinema communities or events, or maybe it's a poetry reading or whatever, they're fun events to go to, but then these are also maybe the people that you want them to know your work and you want them to respect you, but you're having fun, and a lot of like professional things feel very friendly or often involved, being out on a Saturday night. It's a strange way of networking that we have going on as artists.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to network here. I mean, it could be in cinema, it could be in bars, it could be yesterday. I was at an African exhibition, for example. It was like in a restaurant, and I met a lot of people. Now we're gonna talk about doing something together. So it's like a different ways for you. You can go around the city. It's just you need to be open to it. You need to like be open to people, to talk to people, to always introduce yourself. At the end, if no one knows you, you need to have your own PR. Like, yeah, I have this, I do that, and then you can, with those people, collaborate to do your own thing. you know, and or to screen something, for example, screen my movie, let's say, or work that I've done before, which is a plan that I have soon, you know, with Concordia as well. So there's always ways you can find where you can actually build your connections.
What about you, James and Noga? What challenges did you have when you were trying to, you know, make friends or maybe network? Just how did you build the people structure that you have now?
So biggest challenge. There are a lot. I'm not sure how many of you here in person are international students by a raise of hand. We have, oh, awesome. We have 2, 3. Oh, awesome. So also people at home. I think the biggest challenge for me was, we mentioned it earlier, right? And back home, you already established your, I wouldn't call it networks, but networks, sorry, it's really your family and friends. And when you come here, it's all of a sudden like, okay, like I'm reborn, right? In that sense. And I find that to do that, it's easy relatively to make the first connections, but then to keep up with these connections, that's what I find the hardest. Because with your friends, it just comes without saying, right? You just like, you want to go out for dinner? Yeah, sure, let's do it. Here, however, I feel like the biggest challenge for me was the consistency part. Like, you know what, I met you once, but I need to either email you or text you again to see you again and keep that relationship going. So that was the biggest challenge for me. It still is a challenge, I must admit, but I you know, like you accept it and you stick to it. And I believe that helps a lot to build your network.
It's always effort, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
100%. And I mean, as somebody who has been here my whole life, and like a lot of my closest friends are people that I've known in high school, I would say maybe one of the challenges is just kind of going out of my comfort zone to meet lots of new people. And there are plenty of opportunities with the university to do that, even outside the university. You know, there's lots of things that we can do. And I'm sure we'll touch on that throughout this talk. But yeah, even as somebody who is from Montreal, you know, there's still always more you can do to network and to expand your network and meet new people, because that's really where you get all these new perspectives and just in general to grow your network. It will never hurt you.
I agree, because I have a little anecdote here about my sister who's older. She went to grad school and got a PhD and everything way before me. And in a way, it was good. It was inspirational, but it also scared me a lot because one day she told me, just before I started my program, to make sure that I was forcing myself to interact with others. Because she said, one day I went 10 days without speaking to another human person. So I just had this big idea of like, okay, grad school is going to be really lonely. And I made sure from the very beginning, I was a little paranoid about being social, if that's possible. So have you had similar ideas, experiences? And if you did have these feelings, how did you overcome them?
I can talk to it. So I arrived in Montreal January 23. So compared to this winter, I must admit that last winter was way worse. And one of the things that I literally, as you mentioned, Bas, like your sister, I forced myself to register to every possible activity. I was like here in the fourth space, I think like not every week, but probably like once or twice a week, just to try to see people, because sometimes the winter could just like get you in your house and you don't want to leave, which is fine. But you really need to force yourself, not because, you know, like, because it's a duty you need to do, but rather because this is like the, you know, once you get it open, once you open that door, you could just like walk right through it and find your network and find your friends. So yeah, it takes a little bit of effort at the beginning, but once you do it, you'll just see that it comes natural, and that's the best way to start, right? So do force yourself, like push yourself to that, because I also find academically, this could contribute a lot to your work.
Yeah, similarly, I mean, I did my master's during COVID. So it was pretty much a COVID master's, as I call it. And that was a big shock, because beforehand I was doing my undergrad, I was in person all the time. You know, I was coming to school maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Then in the master's, it was all online, and now PhD is back in person. So I could definitely understand where your sister was coming from about not talking, you know, to somebody. Well, 10 days is a lot. I think the longest I've gone was maybe a day. But yeah, absolutely. Like it's a very real feeling. So it's just like you mentioned, it's really just about putting yourself outside your comfort zone and really making the effort. Like, you know, it's you could stay home and work 5 days in your office at home or in your bedroom, but you know, coming to school really makes all that difference. You feel a lot better.
Yeah, I feel you're a big proponent of being here physically, right?
I try to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
because it's you have all of your high school friends. You're the only one who has this sort of lifestyle, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Like all my friends work their full-time jobs, and I'm the only one who really pursued academia. So I'm on a different time zone than them, you
Mm.
know? Yeah.
Fair enough. Mira, what about you?
Okay, so I think one of the biggest challenges is shifting from work life and being a student in a country that I don't know anyone almost. So for me, I was like always working, always making money, like it's a different life, different environment. I came here, I'm like, okay, now what? Like, how am I gonna be working? What's gonna happen afterwards? But slowly things started happening. Slowly, I started getting more people. Slowly, I started actually doing stuff on my own to help my loneliness. I started going around, coming to school more, joining the VCR, joining the screenings that are happening here. Slowly, it helped until like now, my third year. I think I'm very good when it comes to life. I did well, I think.
It's true. I think that it's like you were saying, no, it can be the little things. I remember that, yeah, I just got here. I didn't, you don't get friends like that. And I started going to the People's Potato, which is a lunch service that Concordia has that happens, I want to say 4 times a week or something. You get a free vegan lunch. You just go in with a plate or a tupper or something, and you stand in line for a while because a lot of people go. But that's exactly it. A lot of people go. So then suddenly I was having a meal with people almost every day of the week, and that was huge for me. I was just kind of like alone in my 1 bedroom otherwise, and I even if they didn't become my best friend, it was just nice to have a human conversation. So I just have a lot of love in my life for the People's Potato, and that's just an example of a way that you can get involved as a Concordia grad student, and like you said, it's also about contributing, you give and you get. What are ways that you have found at Concordia specifically that has, been fulfilling?
So there's so many services that you could use. It's really endless. Like I didn't expect that when I came here, but if you really dig in, you'll just realize there's so many services. So Paz was just speaking about the People's Potato. But in terms of student clubs, there's just so many. Like you literally can go on the website and I don't know, you want to know how to crafting or whatever, sewing, like all that, you can find it there. Like you can find all sorts of clubs. Me personally, I got involved in terms of student issues. So I'm in the association for the Department of Education. And I find that that's a great way to, to gather with like-minded people and organize things. So for now, we're doing next month, we have our symposium. So essentially that's an opportunity for grad students to talk about the work and be in a safe environment where they can get feedback about what they're doing from their peers. And, it's like, you give and you get, just like you said. So that's a great way to get involved as well. And again, there's so many services around Concordia. And if you just go out there, if you come here and you start looking, they also always set up tables at the beginning of the term. So you'll find that there are a lot of things that they can offer. So as long as you keep your eyes open, right, you keep your phone in your pocket and you just look around you and you talk to people, you'll find there's like endless opportunities here.
Yeah, sure. I'll maybe touch a bit more on like the academic opportunities that come with being a grad student. I mean, especially master's and PhD level, there's a lot of opportunities to participate. And as Noga mentioned, these research expositions where you can showcase your research and get feedback. But also, and maybe this is a little more common when you're doing your PhD, but there are conferences as well, and your academic staff here will support you to go. We, as PhD students, you often have a stipend or kind of an allowance to go to these conferences. They could be all around the world. So there's plenty of opportunities that way. And again, to the point of expanding your network, that's another level of it where you start to meet people from other universities. And, the academic community is so big that it doesn't just stop at Concordia. There's a lot more that you can do, and these have been great experiences. And so if you do end up doing graduate studies here, I'd absolutely recommend taking part in either research expositions, conferences, networking events. It all makes all the difference.
It's putting you to work already.
Sorry.
Surprises? Surprise.
Sure, why not? I mean, I'll say one thing too. There's a lot out of Concordia, outside of Concordia, but everybody that you see walking around these buildings chose Concordia for a reason. You already have some sort of worldview or opinion in common, something that attracted you to Concordia. You share values, you share a mentality. So that makes for, sometimes friends, sometimes good work colleagues, but there's an affinity that you have there as people that makes building community easier than, I don't know, maybe you're in high school and you just have to get along with the people around you. So I think that's an important thing to emphasize. Everybody at the institution chose it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about first, the facilities at school, because, I mean, I was so surprised when I got here that the amount of equipment that we have, that they provide us. Also, the editing suites, the recording studios, the mixing, like all of those are available for undergrads and grad students for you to learn and to experience and to become like better. Like you can just go and book a suite and just like play around, and see like if I'm good at that, if I like that. So that was so impressive. We have a lot of equipment. We have a lot of cameras. People can try different kind of equipment that they want. Everything is up to date. We also have residencies at the VCR. We have like workshops that they do every now and then at the Gem Lab. We're like learning about the archive, found footage, developing old footage, editing on old like suites and old footage from different movies. So like there's a lot of events that are there to help like filmmakers decide like what they like, or for example, if they want to go that path or not. And other than that, it's the Lebanese community. I was so surprised when I got here that how big it is and how friendly everyone is. Like coming here made me feel like, okay, it's like as if I never left home. And maybe that's why I didn't have like a huge homesickness, because everyone around me from restaurants and shops and people, they're all like me. They immigrated here and they're trying to find a way to make it in Montreal. So it's like a big family that we created.
It's true. People are in the same situation.
Yeah.
Like you said, so many immigrants.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I share your experience, Mira, in that sense, and that's it. Like biggest surprise for me, I wouldn't say like the community itself, but really the people are looking for it. So at first, when my first few days, I was like, oh no, everybody, it was winter, right? So I felt like everyone is like trying to, they don't want to talk to me. But then once you step out of that kind of mentality or thought, you realize that people are really willing to talk. And if you just make that first step, then, people are just willing to talk to you. And it's not about people from your country, it's really everyone, because this experience of being an immigrant is something that we shared with a lot of people. Like the majority of people here, even James, who is from here, like I'm assuming your family, your like other friends that they're all immigrated here. So this is something that we really share in common, and that's like a ground sort of like that you could get together. Yeah, so that was a great surprise for me. How about yourself, Paz? How did you find it?
Well, I mean, you're making me think about food because it's nice to be able to go to a restaurant or something that has a taste of home, but it's also just incredibly nice to be taken to a similar place that's, a friend's taste of home. That's something that I've really learned to appreciate about the city. And when you mentioned undergrads, I think the biggest surprise for me in terms of my Concordia community was that I didn't expect to get to know the undergraduate students and become friends with them and do events with them and see them all the time. I had this idea of like, I'm going to go to my master's class and those are going to be my friends. And no, it's not that thing of that you had maybe in college or high school where it's like, well, I'm a second year, so I can't talk to the older kids and the younger ones are inferior to me. It's not like that at all. We've all grown up a little bit, I think. and you care about the same discipline, most likely. That's why you're pursuing it. And that has been incredible, you know, it's not just like an age thing also, you know, there's people of all ages in every program and you can really just connect through it all.
I think one more thing that we were discussing as we were planning this session, James didn't agree with us, but we all three agreed about public transportation here, which is, again, I know the majority here are from Montreal, but for us from, you know, compared to our home countries, you can, so I know at least for our plan for the weekends, like we could leave our house at 10 p.m., get to a party downtown, come back at 1 a.m., right? And there's just public transport always, weekends, nights. So that's like, for us, at least I appreciate it a lot. James, do you agree with us now or?
I was going to say, I actually do agree with you. I think it was just, I had one too many delayed metros last week, so that was it. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, public transport here is great. The availability of all of it is, yeah, absolutely.
It does facilitate you living your neighborhood and going to some sort of event at some place. And that's the other thing I really like about the city. There's always an event, there's always a festival, especially in the summer. Yeah. And everybody's friendly. All right, speaking of delays, I think we've gabbed on for a while. Maybe we can turn our attention to your concerns or your outrages that you have for us. Any questions from the audience?
But if anyone has any questions, you can just raise your hand. We'll get a mic over to you. Oh, we got one.
Certificates, are they, for the graduate certificates, are they graduate level courses or undergrad courses?
I'm tempted to say graduate, right?
Yeah, I believe they would be graduate level courses. I'm not too familiar with the program. Is there a specific program that you're looking at?
The graduate certificate in business administration.
Oh, okay. Yes, those are graduate level courses, if I'm not mistaken. But we could talk after if you'd like. Yeah, I could double check that.
Anyone else?
All right. Okay, guys. So I have this question from Lauren. She is saying, I have applied as an MA history student for fall 2024. How do you think that Concordia compares with other Canadian universities in Ontario and Quebec? MA history student.
History.
What do you guys think?
I personally don't have any experience with the other universities, like in Ontario, but I know Concordia is very renowned for their arts programs. Like, so in that sense, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, my department is more of a production department, you know, like practical in the undergrad, and in the grad is more theoretical, work more on research. But I think that you know, the thing that why I wanted to join Concordia more than any other like school in Ontario or Quebec is because of the freedom that I had when it comes to practicing new approaches or trying new things. Like my supervisor, my professors, they were all willing to work with me on my pace to see where I'm gonna get. And I can tell you something, everything that I learned in those 2 years, I used them to direct my first feature film. And I had a different approach to that. And after last year, I finished my classes, I went to Lebanon to film and I changed my director's vision. So that's something, Lauren, I can tell you that Concordia will offer you more freedom, more experience in your field, you know, and you will choose whatever you want to do afterwards.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I remember when I was looking at universities in Canada, all over Canada, Concordia was the one that seemed more aligned with my values, my ideological vision. And
Yeah.
part of that is
Yeah.
having freedom and more of an open-mindedness and caring about issues. And I found that to be true, particularly in the history department, actually. I know a lot of people that are really into labor organizing, and the history of labor organizing in Quebec. And there are people who don't just study it, they also do things, you know? It's everybody's so active here at this university. Everybody has a project and they're working on. It's not just their masters, it's their life. And I really respect that. And the other thing I'll say is that getting on the metro, so I keep coming back to the metro, and seeing that one of the station has our, you know, name in the, that makes me feel important. I like that.
Okay. All right. So we have a question from Hashim. Okay. My question is how important knowing French is, guys. What do you think? Who's gonna answer the question?
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah.
What's the person's name?
Hashim.
Hashem. So it's a very good question, and especially again, I'm assuming the people that are back home are international students. I would say that French is important. Like if you can, it's not like you can do without it, especially in this university, which is, you know, an English speaking university, but you should definitely speak, or at least, you know, if you, I know what Lauren said that she was admitted to fall 2024. So already start, you know, either Duolingo, or you should definitely start getting to speak some French because people use it here. And, you know, it's part of also respecting the community where you are. And it helps a lot, you know, one more language can do no harm. It could actually only benefit you. So I would definitely say like it is important, and dedicate some time to it before you come here.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up speaking both English and French, so it is important. It definitely is important. And like Noga said, I mean, it's never a bad thing to learn another language. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
And I will also say that learning the language is an opportunity for community too. I started taking the government classes and I made so many friends. We were all in the same situation of like, okay, we're here learning. We're seeing each other almost every day for like 3 hours in my case. And even today, I have a friend, Maria Elena, and she was sending me like Instagram things like she does. And it doesn't have to be a painful, isolating, you crying thing. Like it should be fun. Learning is fun. You know, that's why you're probably considering doing a master's.
I mean, I totally agree with you guys. I'm starting my classes in April with the Quebec government. So I have been stalling, but I know a bit of French, that's why. But yeah, I think also like in our industry, you know, when you're going on set, people like to speak in French, and I want to work on set with them. So to communicate with them better, it's good to know the lingo, you know, the terms that they use. Also, I'm teaching now a class, so I'm like, some students come to me and they wanna express their scripts or their letters or whatever in French, and that's something that I want to be there for them, you know, like to understand more the language. It's part of the community in Montreal, so it's respectful as well, as you said, to learn what the people are saying. So yeah, I think that's it. French. Okay, let's jump to another question. How to find a community of masters in applied computer science program? Is there specific program related communities too? I'm not in applied science, so
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the student groups, especially like specific to programs, but they're, you know, when you start your program, you will likely be taking classes with all of your cohort. So it's very easy to meet other people in your program, and they may be able to point, you know, there's hundreds of programs here. So I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, you won't have a hard time finding people from your program and groups.
So I wanted to add that, especially, I think in all programs, but especially in engineering, computer science, because it's such a, you know, applicable a field to study, then they always have either student clubs or hackathons. They have hackathons like literally every 2 months. So you could definitely, you know, get to know people there, or projects. I know there's been, well, at least last term, they were like all over the library. They were like promoting all sorts of groups and projects and startups that they want to do. So you have a lot of opportunities, but again, it's up to you to keep your eyes open and check for opportunities and get involved. So you can do it, but it's up to you to do it, right?
I mean, there's also on the website student groups where you can go and check what students groups are available and apply or join any student group. So just on Concordia, you can check student groups. So
Yeah. I would just say that every department or program has a personality, in the sense that I know that there's a certain group of people that I always see in this floor of the library, or there's a certain cafe that a lot of people in my program go to. You can always, once you're here, pay a little bit of attention or see what the habits are. And it doesn't have to be like a formal club thing, is
Yeah.
what I mean also, you know, there's just a behavior that everybody keeps repeating.
Yeah. All right. Now, hi everyone. I applied for Masters in Computer Science. I didn't get an offer letter yet. I'm looking forward for it. Though I applied it, I want to know how can I approach the professors as a supervisor. I have a strong background in AI ML. Well, we're not doing the supervisor.
There was another session
Yeah.
about this, I think.
Yeah, sorry. The session was right before, and I think it's recorded.
It's recorded, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, so you can check it. It's gonna help you with finding how, like, it's all about how to find a professor. A professor. Check it online on YouTube. Okay, so Amir, hi, thank you so much for this webinar. I have applied for a PhD position in electrical engineering. May I please ask about the faculty-student ratio and the accessibility of professors for mentorship and guidance at Concordia University? Are there any opportunities for teaching as a PhD student?
Yeah, so I don't know about the ratio of profs to students, but I'm sure that in engineering it's not an issue. There will definitely be tons of professors who would be suitable to supervise your research. And sorry, what was the follow-up question?
So I asked about the faculty-student ratio,
Oh,
accessibility of professors for mentorship and guidance, and opportunities of teaching as a PhD student.
Yes. So I'm not too sure how it works for engineering, but in a lot of the PhD programs, you will have to teach a course. So I'm not sure if that's the case. It's the case for business. I'm not sure about engineering, but you would definitely get, I would think, some sort of training in teaching.
Master's program, you get to teach. So I don't know about
Yeah, I think it depends on the program faculty.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say also that, at least in my department, a lot of people are I'm thinking about the mentorship question. And I have found that the professors that I've taken contracts for, be it as a teaching assistant or as a research assistant, sort of end up becoming your mentor. You're working with them and they're working with you too. It's not like an official thing that you ever discuss, but you learn from them, they guide you.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, so hey everyone, this is Ahsan here from India. Are there sport facilities like a gym on campus? If yes, is it free for the student in Concordia, or do we need to, do we need to get a membership? I mean, we have football. You can join the football club, and we have basketball also.
A hockey team?
Hockey team,
The
women
same
and
as-
men, by the way. We have a gym, but you need a membership, right?
I'm gonna let James talk about the gym.
Oh, I don't go to the Concordia gym, but it's great. It's great
great,
facility. It just I live a little further away. But yeah, we do have a gym in the downtown campus, and I believe at Loyola there's
So-
other fitness center as well. So yeah, definitely tons of resources on campus.
And the membership is, there's a discounted student price and for staff as well. So you're not paying what a normal person would pay, I would say. It's
Yeah.
quite affordable.
Yeah, you can check it online. You can see they have like 1 week, 1 month, 4 months, 12 months. You can have the bundle that you want, and I think it's a great gym. Honestly, we have a swimming pool as well.
Yeah, they teach special classes too. So you can go
Ah.
join a spinning class, or you can,
That I didn't know. That's
yeah,
nice.
it's a group thing.
That's nice. All right, so GA position or funding opportunities for new MSc Finance International students before starting class. Ali. That's the same.
So these are great questions. Unfortunately, because our session is very focused on, finding your community and making friends, we cannot address these questions, especially because we're not professionals, right? We're not officials of the university. We really try to talk more about the grad experience, but your questions are great. And I would highly recommend, if you have questions about funding or how to get positions, then go to the website of your department and ask the advisors there. And also, I think the past questions that we have a platform called Unibody, and we're all on there. So you could talk to us directly, just message us, and then, ask more personal questions about where we come from and so on. And we can give you some more background about what we do here. But yeah, these are great questions. We're just trying to make it more focused. So
Yeah.
Thank you, Noga. I also want to check with the physical people in the room if any curiosity has been sparked so far.
Okay, so I have so I have a question, but it's also about a supervisor from Fatima. You can check the video on YouTube from the session before, and they can answer that. I'm gonna jump to Siljana. Hi everyone, regarding this topic, my only concern is that I'm enrolling in master's studies at the age of 33. I really don't know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to moving to Montreal. Yeah.
What was the question?
Well,
I didn't hear.
she's doing, or he, sorry, their master's studies at the age of 33, and they don't know what to expect, and they are looking forward to come to Montreal. They have just like concern about, I think, being at 33, doing their master's studies.
I don't think this is anything to worry about. Like
Yeah.
I said, there's a wide range of ages, and it's not something that people are very worried about. And I started my master's directly after university. So I'm one of the youngest people that could possibly be doing it. And I'm in the minority. Most people are in their late 20s, 30s. I think you'll find that you are very well in the age range that you will be met with.
Yeah, I mean, my class, we were like, I came here, I was 29. My class, we had people 34, 35. We all still work together, go out together. We built friendship together. Wherever you go, like I worked for 8 years before coming here. So when I came here, I was like, okay, no way at that age I'm gonna be able to make friends, and that was completely different. It just you need to be more open about the culture, more open about the people, and just like go. Like if someone tells you come to my exhibition or something, go. Enjoy it. Right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's true that people in different ages will do different things. So I have a friend who's like, I think 50 something, and when I do things with him, because he's in my program, he will invite me over to have sushi for dinner. I'm not at a place where I can have sushi at my house and have like 20 people from my program come, but there's also all that joy, you know? He tells me I make him feel young because I'm taking him to a fun cinema plays that there's a value to be gained from the age difference too.
Okay, I'm gonna jump. We have some good questions, guys. A lot. All right.
We have 10 minutes left.
Yeah. So we have like 6 questions. Okay. So hi everyone, that's Ali again. Please tell us something about campus job opportunity for new incoming international students, where they can apply, and someone told them, very good question.
The most obvious one is a teaching assistant for the very same courses that that you would be taking as an undergraduate.
Yeah. There's the work study program.
There's a work study program that will lower tuition.
Exactly. You can go on the CAPS, the job board, and see like we have like a platform where Concordia posts all the jobs that they have for students. Could be work, study, it could be just work. No need to have like work study. TA, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on the TA and RA, so research assistant as well. Those jobs like are great when you're in your master's or PhD because your supervisor, be it your research supervisor or your professor, will understand, you have a time commitment, you have other things to do. So I find the hours are very reasonable. So if you're doing grad studies here, I would highly recommend it because it's also great experience.
Okay, so is getting university accommodation easy at Concordia, or the students have to look for an alternative on their own? That's from Yassine.
I think it's quite easy. In fact, speaking of jobs, one of the things you usually see will be Somebody's looking for a note taker because they're having some sort of issue. They can't attend class. Somebody will be paid to go and take notes for them, for example. Professors seem very aware and concerned, especially in the wake of COVID, that, you know, a lot of students would benefit from having a hybrid class, or that this is happening. It has expanded our capacity for empathy, I think.
We have the Grey Nuns, that's a residency, like residence for students, right? So because they're asking about on campus if we have a residence.
For housing and accommodation? Yeah.
Housing
I thought you
accommodation.
meant more like accommodations for,
No.
oh, never mind, never mind.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I think there's like next to school, you can find a lot of apartments, honestly. Like,
Yeah, even
it's
even like on the outside
Yeah.
suburbs,
Yeah.
you can find places that are, you know, a 15-minute metro ride from school.
Yeah,
So it's not
definitely.
bad. Like,
No,
and,
no.
and those
Housing-
are, they seem far away, but they're not.
Yeah, I had assumed that everybody would live downtown, and that hasn't been the case at all.
Oh yeah, well, when I got here, it was downtown. I think everyone, when they come here, a lot of students, they live in downtown first, like to get used to the area or something. Not your case.
Well, actually, what I did is we figured because we didn't know the place at first. So we came here, we had like I think we stayed at a hostel or something for like the first 2 weeks. And we tried it was a bit hectic because there's like studies and all that, but also visiting in different neighborhoods just to get the vibe. And I think that was very, you know, it was very efficient for us because we managed to see the neighborhood. We went there at night, we went there in the morning to see what's, you know, what the people are like and how we feel there. And we manage, at least the neighborhood where I live right now, I'm super happy with it. So I would recommend maybe trying, if you can do that, then, you know, give yourself some time to get to know the environment, or ask people on Facebook, or ask us, like, that's a good way to get an idea of where you're moving to.
Yeah. And for Durka, she's asking about job opportunities for international students. We just said TA, teaching assistant, RA for grad students, and you can check the job board, CAPS. You have the work study opportunities as well. Okay, so Joe's, how expensive is to live in Montreal in terms of utilities, household expenses?
Who was it, James, that asked? What's
No,
the name of it?
his name is Joe's. Or
Joe's.
Jose, I don't, we'll see.
Okay, so Joe's, that's a great question. It's a great question, and I think it really depends on who you talk to, because we have different, you know, we pay different necessities, different households that we have. But I'd say it's livable. Like, as opposed to, I have friends studying in Toronto. I think someone earlier asked about how we compare to other universities in Quebec or Ontario. In that sense, is cost of living. It's true that it has gone up in the last year, but it is still more affordable than other places. So in that sense, it is doable. But yeah, you need to plan ahead properly, you know, to be able to pay your tuition fees and also live your life. What are your thoughts?
I think food is the most expensive thing that I can think of. You know, like rent is quite affordable compared to other cities in Canada, as you said. But I think food is the thing that surprised me the most. I'm very used to, like, I'm from a country where going out to dinner is like very normal, and here I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think, yeah, when you compare it to Toronto and Vancouver, definitely more affordable than there.
Cool. Just speaking to Pass's point about eating out, yes, it is expensive depending on where you go. If you go around campus, there's so many options that are like really on a budget and super good food. So like, if you really, again, that's a part of coming here and checking it out. There are a lot of options here as well. So you can still do that.
Yeah, the Hive Cafe, which is a co-op that we have here, I think it's you know, you pay a little bit and then you're a member, and cheaper prices. There's a lot of situations like that, and I think there are good people quite involved too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a nice question here, guys. So can you please comment about adjusting to the climate in Montreal, coming from a person who had lived almost all my life in the Middle East? How are we adjusting?
That's a very good question.
I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. I mean, January, February, March for me are the hardest. But to be honest, you get used to it. You get used to it. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, I was like, how the hell I am being able to walk on snow like that? I come from the Middle East where I don't have snow in the city. It's hot right now. It's like 20 degrees. So coming from that to -6 and 10 was not easy, but we're well. buy good like thermals. And you're gonna see with time you're gonna adapt, you're gonna cope to the weather. It's just gonna become like another normal winter, normal. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue with that.
Yeah.
First like week or two, or like it's gonna be tough, or month. First winter is gonna be like, what is happening? But then you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be either this or you're like super excited about your first winter and then the second is just like I can't do it anymore. I want to leave. So it's either two options. But as Mira said, like it all comes down to having the proper clothing,
Yeah.
right? So get yourself, and it's really not that expensive. There are a lot of shops here in Montreal. We didn't get to talk about that, but where I live, for example, like I think throughout the street there are like four how's it called, the Renaissance Fripe. So it's like secondhand shops. You can get super nice things for $2-3. So you can get a proper coat for maybe $20 or $30. So as long as you dress properly, and again, you force yourself to go out of your house and try to see what locals do, right? People here go skiing. I cannot speak to myself because I'm too scared to do that, but some people do try that, or just, playing with the snow. It's a lot of fun, building a snowman. So try to do these type of things, get out there, and you'll see that it's not that bad. You'll see Montrealers bike at any given weather, so you can do it as well.
Yes. When I was scared about the weather, somebody told me that life didn't stop here the way that it did in other cold cities. There's skiing and there's ice skating and there's Igloo Fest, that music festival that's happening right now where everything's outside. People have adapted. And the other thing I'll say is that nothing brings people together more than complaining.
Good point. Good point.
All right. So, hi everyone. I'm Xia Fan, and I'm very happy to be a part of this event. I'm applying for MFA of Studio Arts Photography in 24 fall, and I'd like to know if I can take some print media courses for interdisciplinary study, during grad school.
This is a very specific question.
I think that would be a question for the department.
That would be a
specifically.
question
Like
for
if
the
you email the department, they could answer you, because I'm doing film production. I could help you in film production, but photography, I'm not sure how the department works. Do you know?
Well, I was going to say on the website, there should be, if you go onto the program website, you should be able to see the kind of course structure. So I would recommend doing that. And then if not, then contact the advisor, and maybe we could leave the web page in the chat here.
Indeed. All right, I think it's almost time. Maybe we have one last
Maybe.
question, Mina?
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, so we have like, what are the best resources to find an apartment? Are there any student clubs that provide French classes? Actually, GCA, they are offering free French classes for the winter and fall term. The only thing is that you have to be very fast to like register, because everyone wants to take those classes. So yeah, the GCA, they provide French classes. And I don't
So
know.
I just wanted to speak
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that because the DCA is the Graduate Student Association, so they offer courses. But on top of that, there is a department here called Réussir en Français, and they essentially provide French resources. So one of the things they do, and that's part of Grad Pro Skills, which is a service in university that essentially offers very cutting edge webinars on diverse array of topics, and one of them is French. So I went to take some French courses. It's normally once a week for like an hour and 15 minutes. But again, this is a great way to know people from different departments. So we were talking about how to build a community. That's one option. And as Paz mentioned, the government here really, enhances or promotes people to take the courses. So not only you get to go there for free, sometimes you even get paid,
I got paid.
right? So I didn't take them, but it's possible. So there are really many resources, and they're trying to promote you to do that. And I know Concordia is trying to enhance that even more. So yeah, there are plenty of resources. Just look out there and register to whatever you see, and you'll be able to learn French.
Okay.
Well,
Are we wrapping up, or
I
last
think we're
question?
wrapping up. I want to thank everybody for your time and attention and listening to us. Feel free to email any of us if
Yeah.
you want to know some more about our experience or future plans or anything, I would say.
Yeah, you can chat with us on Unibuddy,
Chat with us on Unibuddy.
and we can answer any question you want or need.
Have more questions?
If anyone here has.
Yes, please stay over. And that's all I want to say. This is a very wonderful city, and a wonderful university, and everybody has found a way to build a community one way or another. These are just our experiences. We'll be happy to help you make them yours once you come here. Thank you very much.
And just before we sign off, thank you again to Douglas, Jacqueline, for everything you do, all of Fourth Space. We really
you, guys.
appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming in here, sharing your experiences. We will be closing up the live stream and the Zoom now, but just a reminder that this conversation is already available on our YouTube channel, CU4 Space, if you want to revisit it or share it there. And thank you for coming out to 4 Space for the open house. I hope to see you here again soon. Have a great afternoon.